All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, here we go, back again on the other side of the coin. Welcome, everyone, to this show today. Of course, welcome to PYS. First of all, PYS, my man, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me back on, and should be a good little discussion here, and yeah, looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Thanks to everyone that's joining so far and the people that will be joining down the track as well. Akash, thank you. Yusuf, thank you. You guys have always supported the channel, so thank you for that. PYS, today's topic, what I want to talk about is there's a lot of sort of hoo-ha in the social media since Thomas Tuchel's taken over. There's a lot of upbeat, but at the same time there are people that are still sort of got that residual sort of value still remaining from Frank Lampard days, and they seem to still be very, very critical about current situation. But today we want to take the opportunity to really just talk about exactly what has happened so far. Obviously, we've got the next game, which is the FA Cup game against Barnsley. But it's a good time to sort of chill down, relax, and have a look at, how things have turned around so massively, since Thomas Tuchel's taken over and what was happening during Frank Lampard time. So, first of all, PYS, what I want to start off with, let's start off with the basics from the bottom. Thomas Tuchel took over and he straight away changed the formation to get a better sort of betterment of this particular squad. Do you feel like, he looked at the situation and he saw that we were leaking a lot of goals and he saw the characteristics of the players that we have, and he thought, you know what, I need to have a solid defense, and in order to do that, I need to have three at the back and play with wing backs. So let's start with that first of all. Your thoughts about him sort of playing with that three at the back formation. Is that what you expected? And at the same time, do you feel that's what is needed for the time being?
To be honest, I didn't really expect the three at the back. I sort of expected him to go more of a four at the back because he is kind of a very attacking manager. But I don't mind the three at the back at the moment if we're getting results, and we are. And it's not like a horrible three at the back where it's boring to watch. I think if you see our games, we're dominating a lot of the ball, but I guess our forward line could be more clinical and stuff. But I think the three at the back does suit this squad. I think for now anyway. I mean, you've got the likes of like Rudiger, Christensen coming back in and things like that. And I just think, it's very hard for any of our centre-backs to look bad in a three at the back. I think, they've got cover, even the ones that we don't really think are like, very, very good. Like Rudiger, to be honest, I'm not a big fan of him, but he's looked all right in his games, other than that mistake the other day, he's looked pretty solid. So I think the three at the back does cover the defence a bit. Azpilicueta as well has come in. He's familiar with playing three at the back. And, I think there's something they mentioned on Sky Sports over here in England is that Tuchel's probably sat down with a squad and sort of gauge their idea on the situation and formations and things and what's probably suited best to the squad because, he's new to this league, he's new to this squad, and I think it's very important to get in tune with your squad, and I think that's probably what he's done. And yeah, I mean, I'm not a massive fan of three at the back overall, but I'm starting to like this Tuchel three at the back just because we do look solid. Like, we can create more chances, of course, but I think everyone's playing quite well, and I like the way we dominate games. I like watching teams have a lot of the ball and dictate games, and that's really us. And I feel like we struggled a bit like that under Lampard in terms of like actually dominating games with the ball. It was sort of we'd go through periods where we'd have the ball and then we'd suffer for a bit. But yeah, I think I'm kind of becoming more of a fan as the weeks go on of the three at the back. But I do expect us to go to a four at the back soon, and obviously like I'm seeing loads of people like plan out three at the backs for next season and things. It's just like I think some of them are losing the point here is that Tuchel won't stick with this every single game. I very much doubt. I think once he's got more familiar with the squad and the players and and we've got obviously these results together, I think you can see him sort of tinker with the formation a bit, depending on the opposition. But for now, I think obviously we're on this winning run, so it makes sense to stick with the three at the back. And yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it at the moment. The main thing is winning, so as long as we're winning, I can't complain. So yeah.
No, 100%, man. Everything that you said is bang on, man. Yeah, I'm on the same boat as well, in the sense that, yeah, three at the back, people straight away start thinking that it's defensive football, but that hasn't been the case at all. We've been playing very good football, as you said. We haven't been clinical, and it's great to see, as you said, the defenders that we have all suit the three at the back, because playing that four, none of them look very astute instead of, I suppose, besides Thiago Silva. Every other centre backs that we have look very, very suspect when we play four at the back. So three at the back, as you said, gets the best out of Azpilicueta, gets the best out of Rudiger. And even Thiago Silva has that freedom from the middle to, help out in the build-up. And he's far more, I suppose he's even that much more better in the three at the back. But yeah, most importantly, we haven't looked defensive. We've looked very, very organized in defense. But at the same time, we've played our football. So now 100% understand that. I just want to quickly read this out from Adube. I think we are getting hyped too quick. Tuchel is doing good, but let's don't jinx it. Don't read too much into it. We need to go by our business quietly, guys. Adube, this is the exact show. We want to ensure that we don't go overly hyped up about the whole situation. And this is the exact discussion PYS and I are going to have to bring a sort of rationale perspective about the whole situation. So do stick through the whole show to understand more. PYS, so we've talked about the three at the back. I want to now talk to you about, obviously, the three at the back has allowed for some of these fringe players to get some time as well. Azpilicueta wasn't getting that much time. Now he's back into the frame. Rudiger wasn't getting that much time. Now he's back into the frame. But the wing backs as well. Let's talk a little bit about the whole wing back situation, PYS. Our wing backs, we've already seen Callum Hudson-Odoi playing the wing back. We've seen Chilwell and Alonso play on that side. And it feels like, especially with Callum's side, whenever Callum sort of plays, and I'll touch on the Reece James factor down the track, but when Callum plays, that wing back is not the traditional kind of wing back. It's more like a playmaker with Callum Hudson-Odoi. That's a very interesting style of management sort of thought from Thomas Tuchel as well. Like, that's his little flavor that he's added into this squad. I mean, how much of that has sort of, got you excited and at the same time, surprised you as well?
To be honest, when he first used Hudson-Odoi as a wing back, I was like, this is going to be interesting, because one of the main criticisms he got under Lampard and before was that he didn't track back enough. And I think that's one of the reasons why, although I never really believed in it, Lampard didn't start him as regular as he probably should have based on his talent, was because Lampard always thought that he didn't really track back. But it's nice to see under Tuchel that Hudson-Odoi is obviously tracking back. I mean, that one chance, I think, was it Dendonka, I think, on the very first game where he was literally in on goal, and Hudson-Odoi came back and probably stopped us from losing that game. So I've been very, very impressed with Hudson-Odoi under Tuchel. I think he's probably been our best player so far in the Tuchel era. I think it's fair to say that. Could also be like Mount, Jorginho, Kovacic also played well. But I think Hudson-Odoi has probably been the standout, and this is the one thing that I was hoping for from a new manager, is that yes, he would be able to get the best out of Hudson-Odoi, and he would be able to take his development through the roof, and I think that's what he will do. We had that clip just recently, obviously, from the last game at the end of the game where Tuchel and Hudson-Odoi were hugging and joking and things. So
that was beautiful.
Yeah, that gassed me up quite a bit, because I was like, yes, this is it. Come on, keep it going, because I've been waiting for this for a long time. It's just so nice to see, obviously, being a big fan of Hudson-Odoi, that he seems to have found someone that finally believes in him. And, people are like, oh, why isn't he starting, blah, 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 the other day? But he needs rest as well. He can't play every single game. So I think, he did come on in the end, which was interesting. But, yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Hudson-Odoi at wing-back, because I've said before, he seems to be, although he's young, he seems to be a player that can be tactically drilled. And obviously, when he is playing at this wing-back position, he gets forward, but then as soon as we lose the ball, he's getting back straight into position. He'll run backwards straight into position and sort of stay in that wing back role. But when he's off the ball, it's how forward can we get? Can we still create? Can we still take on players? And he really does act like one of those free forwards anyway, which is brilliant. He offers another option, and the width out wide is just fantastic. So yeah, I'm very, very excited for Hudson-Odoi's future here this season, and I just hope this Tuchel thing works, because I do believe he is the manager to develop a lot of our young players. And I think even later down the line, if Tuchel does leave, I think our young players are going to be in such a good position. For whoever the next manager may be. But obviously that's a long time away, and I hope that the Tuchel idea and the Tuchel thing works. I hope they back him, and I hope he stays a long time, because the one thing we need at this club is stability, and we don't really have it. I'm not sure whether to believe if the contract situation is real. Obviously, I'm hearing that Tuchel has to get us into the Champions League this season to sort of extend the contract. I think that'd be a bit harsh, but considering the circumstances. But to be honest, with the way we're playing and the results and other teams dropping points and stuff, I think we can get top 4 this season. But as the other comment said, let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We've got a lot of games left. Let's just see what happens. Let's see what happens game by game. I'm taking it game by game. I don't know about you, but
me too, man. Game by game, game by game.
I've seen our fixture schedule. The next couple of games look favourable, but we do have that running. We're near. I think we've got like Atletico, Man United, Everton, Leeds, all sort of back to back. So
month of March is madness.
Yeah. So I think that month decides it. If we come out of that month in top 4, I think we'll get it. But saying that, towards the end of the season, like right at the end, I think we've got like City, Leicester, Aston Villa. So it's going to be hard. But what's the point if we don't believe? I believe we can get it playing this way, obviously. So yeah.
No, 100%, man. Akash, I will get to this question down the track as the show goes on. We will be answering that because I've got that pencil to talk about. PYS, obviously, Hudson-Odoi, we've talked about the right wing-back position and how Thomas Tuchel is getting that out of him, strategically, giving him all sorts of different instruction, giving him that freedom to really just annihilate that right side. Sometimes even was it against Tottenham where he was playing as an inside forward, and also when he came on in the second half against who was that last Sheffield United, he was once again as an inside forward. So there's a lot of variety that Tuchel is applying with Hudson-Odoi. Before I talk about Reece James and Chilwell and Alonso, I think it's timely because you did talk about how Hudson-Odoi is enjoying taking this tactical information. You can just see how much he's buzzing whenever the press goes to him. He's full of praise about Thomas Tuchel, and he's always spitting all this tactical information as well. And it's not just Hudson-Odoi, PYS. It's you got players like Reece James today. I saw some quotes from him where he's really praising massively on Thomas Tuchel. Obviously, players like Rudiger, Kovacic, and many other players, even Timo Werner, who's mentioned that he likes playing more as an inside forward as opposed to a left winger, and he likes playing with a striker. He's been quoted to say these sort of things. How much of that do you sort of look into that and go, okay, I mean, these players were somewhat, I suppose, deprived a little bit under Frank Lampard, and now they are seeing a lot more tactics, which I feel like they were a little bit strived off it. I mean, is that how you sort of feel as well when you look at comments like that?
Yeah, man, for sure. I think a lot of the Athletic article that came out said, that some players didn't really understand what was going on under Lampard. It sort of felt a bit like, just training and vibes sort of thing. It's kind of like, I think with a new manager coming in, it's someone with pedigree. I always expected this, someone with some sort of pedigree, with good tactics, with proven track record, and I think Tuchel is that. So he ticks a lot of boxes, and I think obviously, as I mentioned before, that the young player development, etc., probably was a big hit with Mourinho, I think. So I think obviously, I mean, you only had to watch our games. The players didn't understand what they was being asked. Lampard wasn't very proactive on the touchline. He wasn't pulling players to the side and delivering information like Tuchel does. We were sort of playing 4-3-3 every game. It was just sort of, And I'm not saying it's bad to stick to a formation, by the way. I'm just saying, under Lampard, it looked like we lacked ideas and he wasn't sort of willing to change it. He got really, really stubborn, whereas he wasn't like that before. I just think the longer it went on with Lampard, the worse it got. And that's what I was saying. I was like, come on, let's just change the manager now. Otherwise, we're not going to get top 4. Things are just getting worse and worse. And, you can have a bad run and a bad patch, but I think even in the games before, when we was winning, it was sort of, I mentioned this, it was like crossing vibes. We were winning pretty much every game off crossing, and it wasn't sustainable in my opinion. It's not sustainable to win games off
just crosses,
just
only crosses.
And like we just didn't, we lacked ideas. It was just sort of, it just got to the stage where we had to change, and I think the players have benefited from Tuchel, and he came literally straight in. I remember watching the first train video, and he was getting them all drilled, and he was like proper into them, and I was like, yes, this is exactly what we need. We need someone to come here, set the standard, let them know what's up, because I'm not being horrible or anything, but some of these players aren't the best at taking in tactical information. I think we know that. So I think to have a tactical manager now is going to benefit the squad. Obviously, it will change in the long term with like summer window and things, but I think for now it's definitely helped the squad. Someone coming in and obviously delivering actual tactics to the team, but also someone that can build personal relationships with players, and I think he's already done that. And I've loved him when he pulls people to the side and delivers them tactical information and things.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's so good.
It's like very hands-on. It's not like a. I don't know about you, but like Sarri, remember when Sarri came in? It was like I kind of liked the idea of like Sarri ball and things, but I just didn't think he really understood Chelsea. I kind of like I liked his idea of football, but he wasn't very. He's quite old, isn't he? He's not like I don't know. Tuchel just seems so like in with it all. Like he's so full of life, and he just loves his chance. He loves his job.
The thing with Tuchel, PYS, is that he connects with the fans as well. I think this is where Sarri missed out. Whereas Frank connected, but he didn't have that.
I think the fans will love him. I think the fans will love him. Whenever we do get back, I think they'll love him. I don't see how they couldn't. Unless you're still attached to Lampard, I don't see how you can't love Tuchel, because he's in with the young players. That's what many of the match-going fans want. They want these young players to play, like your Mason Mounts, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and things like that. They'll play. They are playing. They will still continue to play if they perform. He's active on the touchline. He's not, boring. He doesn't just sit down. He's always up and about, and he's very animated, which I know a lot of the match-going Chelsea fans love. I was there for the Kante era. That was one of the main things. And Sarri as well. People around me were saying, Sarri's not, he doesn't show any passion. He doesn't, he just sort of stands there and sits down and doesn't do much. But Tuchel's very lively, so I don't see a way in which, from an aesthetics point of view, at least at match day, whenever they do get back, that they don't like Tuchel. I think they will like Tuchel. So I think he does tick the box in terms of the fans. So I think that's a big thing anyway, because the next manager after Lampard was obviously going to get some stick, whoever it was. It could have been Pep Guardiola, and these fans would have gone on him, for a little bit, because that's what Lampard fans are like. But I think in the long term they will like Tuchel, and I'm excited for the future.
No, for sure, man. You're right, man. Thomas Tuchel for me is the complete package as a manager in terms of his press conference. He's quite likable in regards to that. He's well spoken. Tactical knowledge, he shares that as well. As to why he's doing what he's doing. He's very, very close to the players, as you said, with Callum Hudson-Odoi, and not just him, many other players. Jorginho, he's very, very, sort of huggy and mushy with, I suppose. Like when fans, once they return, I'm sure, as you said, they will definitely like Thomas Tuchel. Before we get into the next part of the topics, this comment here from Maynak, do you think Tuchel has turned around our form, or is it just our position we face plus the impetus provided by the managerial change? Look, in regards to the impetus provided by the managerial change, 100%, that definitely has a factor. But I think we need to understand that this manager is a very experienced manager, and he's got a very clear way of planning, which is definitely we're benefiting from that. Obviously, you can say honeymoon period and whatnot, but in regards to the opposition, don't kid yourself. These were the oppositions we were struggling with not that long ago, and now we're getting wins out of them. So our performances over the last couple of months before Thomas Tuchel came in, no one could have said that these are the games that we would have won right now. So I wouldn't be saying the caliber of opposition. We've played Spurs, we played Wolves who beat us. We got a draw out of them. We probably should have won that, to be honest. I don't think Wolves, every counter we sort of snuffed it out. We beat Burnley, who were in flying form after beating Liverpool and Aston Villa. And we beat Sheffield United, who won 3 out of their 5 and beat Man United. So, yeah, I'm not going to just sit here and say, it's the caliber of oppositions. I mean, what is it going to take for us to only play Manchester City to say that, Thomas Tuchel has really sort of turned things? You can see the way we're playing. You can see the vibe in the team. You can see all of that stuff that PYS said in regards to managers, that vibe from the side and talking to each player, barking orders. It's changing. But yeah, PYS, let's now talk about Reece James before we talk about the left side of things. For me, he's been used in the right wing-back position, and this is probably the one spot I suppose maybe Thomas Tuchel needs to think a little bit. I don't think we are getting the best out of Reece James in the right wing-back. I feel like he's not as dynamic as Callum Hudson-Odoi, which is fine. That's understandable. Reece doesn't seem to have that edge to go past the player, take on that player. I feel like he's completely stopped his crossing. We've gone from crossing everything to now not crossing at all. I don't think that's the right way to go about it as well. Like, we need to have some form of crossing still. But Reece James, for me, I think he'd probably be more suited as a right CB as opposed to right wing back. Your thoughts about this particular player playing in that role?
I've said before, actually, recently, that I think Reece can do it. Obviously, he's got pace, he's got strength, he's decent in the air for his size. He's good on the ball, so I think he does tick all the boxes. He's definitely got better at 1v1 defending. But again, for me, I have a problem because, the person that he would be replacing is probably Azpilicueta. And as we know, Azpilicueta is very, very reliable in a free back. So it's a difficult one for me because although I want Reece to play, you can't really take Azpilicueta out when we're winning like this. So it's obviously difficult. I could be very selfish and say, what, Azpilicueta, get out, Reece James, get in. I think that's what all fans want. But I think we've got to be a bit realistic. I don't know, man. Azpilicueta is a captain. I think Tuchel likes him. Yeah. In this free back, obviously, if it's a 4-back and Reece isn't playing, I'm going mental. I'm going mental if Azpilicueta is starting 4-back over Reece at right back. But it's not. It's centre back. It's a different position, and Azpilicueta is very, very reliable there. So I don't know, man. I want Reece to play. I want Reece to start in this free back, but I don't have a massive issue if he doesn't because we're winning games and Azpilicueta is looking good, and most importantly, right wing back Hudson-Odoi is looking good. I mean, one thing we could do is put Hudson-Odoi left wing back and then Reece James right wing back. I'm sure that would work because Hudson-Odoi is naturally a left-sided player anyway. But again, I'm so sure we're going to talk about the left side in a minute. Alonso's doing well at left wing back, so what do you do? What do you do? Do you just shove all these senior players out for the young players, and then us fans win and we get to see what we want? But that's not going to go down well with Alonso and Azpi. So
that's right.
You have to strike a balance with the squad, and I think that's what he's doing well at the moment. I think, I think he's striking the balance well with the squad. So yeah.
No, 100%, man. I've said it in the last few days as well that one thing Thomas Tuchel, besides every other thing that he's done right, one major thing that he's done right is he's got that balance between youth and the experience. I feel absolutely bang on, because I think what Frank was sort of missing out at a certain point was he sort of, the fringe players. He made the fringe players absolutely fringe players and made sure that those players get no chances at all. Whereas Thomas Tuchel has come in and he's like, everyone's got a chance. Do you know what I mean? it really depends on the opposition. Alonso plays sometimes. Chilwell has been getting. I suppose Emerson's probably the only one, but then again, we've got 2 left backs. So one left wing back, 2 left backs, so 3 left-sided players. So it's very difficult to give Emerson. Maybe Emerson might get a chance in the FA Cup. Maybe not. Maybe it might be Alonso or Chilwell again. But besides them, almost everyone else has got pretty much chances. Zuma, probably the other one. But then again, he's had that injury sort of concern. But yeah, it's so important to ensure that we get that balance right. And I think Thomas Tuchel has been doing that. Callum Hudson-Odoi is playing, Mason Mount's playing, but then you have Azpilicueta playing as well, Thiago Silva, Rudiger. Now he's got the Jorginho and Kovacic back, which we will talk about. But let's just quickly talk about the left side now, PYS, which Chilwell and Alonso. I'm getting a little bit worried about Chilwell because so far from what I've seen, not just the last 2 months when just before Frank Lampard got sacked, I don't think I wasn't very impressed with some of his games there in the back 4. He looked quite average, and now in the left wing back he looks bang on average. Alonso, I feel like it's his element when he plays the left wing back. He may not be the greatest defender, but when it comes to be in the right spot in the box and the way how clinical he is, I feel like he pips him all the time. But just quickly, your thoughts about Chilwell. How are you feeling about this particular player now?
One of the ones that I'm probably most against, really, a lot of the time, people probably think, based off my tweets and obviously like my stance last summer. My stance last summer was, look, he's going to cost a lot. He's very inconsistent. He'll go through a run of games where he'll play really well for 5-6 matches, and then he'll go off the boil and he won't play well for a while. And look what happened. That's exactly what happened when he joined. He played really, really well at the start. Everyone was like, best left back in the league, Ashley Cole replacement, English, job done, perfect. But I was like, calm down a minute. Like, Chilwell's not a player that is known for being really, really consistent at left back. So I was always on my guard a little bit with Chilwell. I think, I mean, I'm not saying he's a terrible player. He's a decent player. He played the good pass to Werner. He's got some technical ability, but he's quick. But I don't know, man. There's something about Chilwell. I just think I don't think he's the best defender, and I honestly don't. I'll stick by that. I don't obviously think Alonso's
the
the
last
best
2
defender.
penalties, he got lucky. Like, one
yeah.
against Leicester, I think he got lucky because it was given offside.
He can be clumsy as well. He can be clumsy, and
yeah.
A lot of Leicester fans told me this last summer, saying, "Look, we're going to rob you. He's going to play decent, but a lot of the time he's going to make silly mistakes. He's going to get caught out in transitions. He's not going to be the best on the ball in terms of delivering crosses. So, for me, it's just I don't know. I don't know if it will turn out to be a waste of money. I don't know, man. It's a difficult one because I guess the one thing he has got on his side is age. He's still young. He can still develop, but at the same time, he's not showed any sort of
PYS, sometimes you can just see, even though when they're young, you can just see that, this guy's going to be good. Like, there's inconsistencies, but he's going to be good. I don't know about Chilwell. Like, I feel like he may just be a average left back. Like, I could be wrong. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I get that vibe from him as well. Like, I just don't see. To be honest, left back, it's just such an important position. You've got to have consistency, and we haven't found that for a while, obviously, since Ashley Cole left. So, Felipe Luis was good for a short while, but even he was old. So, it's very, very hard to sort of find a consistent left back. And I think the comment there that says, Chilwell lacks intensity. I mean, I kind of agree because although he's quick and he's sort of up and down, he gets caught out in transitions a lot, and he's not, I don't know, man. There's just something dodgy about him. Let's just say that. He's just not consistent enough.
Absolutely, man. I just hope that he does turn it around. I mean, look, I'm not hoping for this player to not be a superstar or what everyone's been saying, he's the next Ashley Cole and all of that. I hope he does turn into the next Ashley Cole. But so far, that comment from Kishan, I just want to bring this up again. Chilwell lacks intensity of other fullbacks like Robert. 100%, I think he does lack that intensity. I don't know. Sometimes in recent times, against Sheffield United, he gave away the penalty. Luckily, it was, I think, once again given offside. That's why it wasn't a penalty. Against Leicester as well, it was offside. I think it was clumsy. That was a penalty as well, but I think it was given offside. He's been getting away, but both the times they were very, very clumsy situation. Moving forward, it's not like he's absolutely burning it up like, let's say, like a Marcelo from Real Madrid or the classic Roberto Carlos, from the left side. He did start off the career in Chelsea very well, but as you said, PYS, I've spoken to a few Leicester fans, and they've said the same thing, that Chilwell has this tendency, whenever things get tough, he sort of goes back into his shelf. But the thing is, we are playing well, so I don't know. Hopefully, he does turn things around. We've talked about the left side. We've talked about the right. I want to now talk about the double sixes, PYS. A lot of people that have been commenting here, whether we would sell Kante or whatnot, and talking about Jorginho. I want your perspective before I give mine about why Thomas Tuchel is using. He's now used it in the 4 matches that we've played: Wolves, Burnley, Spurs, Sheffield United. All 4 matches, Jorginho and Kovacic. From your perspective, why do you think he's using this particular double six combination?
Just because they're so good on the ball. That's pretty much it, really. They're so good on the ball, and his PSG teams, Dortmund teams, always had good ball players, and this goes right back to the defence as well. People have been saying, and I've seen a few comments like, "Where's Zuma?" and things. Is Tuchel's obsessed with ball players, and that's why I expect Christensen to play over Zuma, just because he's so good on the ball, and Tuchel's just obsessed with ball players. So I'm not surprised that he likes Jorginho and Kovacic, especially Kovacic as well, because he can beat the press and escape the press and things. So I think Kovacic obviously has a bit more to his game than Jorginho, but Jorginho does suit Tuchel. I think they like each other. I think the thing is with Jorginho is obviously he does lack that pace, and obviously against maybe more high intensity sides we may get overrun a bit, but obviously we have Kante for that. I think Kante will probably come in for one of them, but as for now, I think they're both doing really good. I'm liking the partnership. A lot of fans like to hate on Kovacic and all these things, and it's just sort of
unnecessarily as well. Unnecessarily, just going out of the way and hating them.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really understand it. Like I can get, criticising them when we're losing and then they're at fault for things, but they're not at fault for anything at the moment. They're helping us control the game. So, I don't see a reason why we should change it. Obviously, maybe Tuchel will bring Kante in one game or something soon based on the opposition. But I mean, if you look at the sides coming up, Newcastle, another low block. We don't need Kante for that. We need people that are good on the ball to sort of spread the play and things like that. Who else have we got coming up? Southampton, I think.
We've got Southampton.
Yeah,
they press, but then again, it's not like they won the ball too much.
And again, with Kante as well, I'm not actually like being hateful here towards him or anything, but lately, the past few months, he's not actually been very good under the press either. So, he does lose the ball quite cheaply. So it's kind of like, I don't think Kante's at his best. I don't think he's been at his best for a while, but hopefully he does sort of rediscover his form and sort of get away from these injuries under Tuchel, because it's Kante at the end of the day. If you can get the best out of Kante, you're going to get the best out of the whole team. Plays like that, the team thrive off. I fully expect Kante to play. But for now, I think the Kovacic partnership is good, is working. Obviously, seeing that in the results and how much possession we're having. So, I mean, I'm liking it. Obviously, I'm a big Kovacic fanboy anyway, but I'm
man. 100% agree with you. It's so well said. The reason why we're using Kovacic and Jorginho is purely because we want to hold the ball. We want more possession. We don't want to give the opposition any possession, and we want to be able to move the opposition around side to side and find that pass through the middle when we have that opportunity. And I just hate the fact so many people have been saying, oh, but why not play Kante? Why not play Mason Mount and Kante? I'm like, how's that going to work? They both want to move forward. That's going to leave such a massive hole at the back. And as you said, PYS, Kante is not, and this is the thing, PYS. Many think, oh, why doesn't Kante play in that position? Kante does not want to touch the ball that much. Kante is not a possession-based footballer. He'd rather be a counter-attacking footballer, breaking things down, seeking and destroying and whatnot. Honestly, question for you, PYS. In recent times, the amount of possession that we've held, do you reckon if it was Kante and Kovacic, and Kante being more sort of deeper, and Kovacic is the one that's sort of box to box, or either or, let's say Kovacic deeper and Kante box to box, because if Kovacic is deeper, then we're reducing his game in the sense of driving through the middle. Do you reckon we keep the ball as much as we do now with Jorginho?
It's difficult to say, but I don't know. Probably not, just because of how well Jorginho keeps the ball ticking. Yeah. I still think we'd have high possession, but I don't think we'd have as much. Again, I'll come back to one of my points before. Over the last few months, especially, something that I've noticed is Kante's passing has been very sloppy. Especially under Lampard, he gave the ball away quite a lot. So, I mean, Kante's not the best passer. He's all right on the ball, but as you said, he's more of a counter-attacking player, stopping counter-attacks and running off the ball, chasing after people. And that's, like we've got Man United this month. I want Kante to play in that game. If Jorginho plays against Manchester United, we're screwed, because Manchester United are so good on the counter-attack. They've got so many fast players, and I need Kante to play in that game, because he will hopefully stop them, hopefully suppress them a little bit. They've got Rashford, they've got Greenwood, they've got, even though Cavani's not that fast, he's got very good movement. He's still, he's got decent pace in him. Bruno, again, very, very good off the ball. So, if Pogba's fit, again, even McTominay's fast. Yeah. So we have to stop all these players. It just depends on the opposition. If we're playing a low block, there's no point playing Kante. There's no, there's no point playing Kante. If it's not against a counter-attacking team, there's no point. We need to keep the ball ticking. We need, chances created. And Jorginho can do that, by the way, as well. I see people say, well, Jorginho only passes sideways. Well, that's not necessarily true. A lot of the time he does pass sideways, but he does look for those runs in behind, especially if Werner's playing. We saw that with Tammy.
I'm so glad you're saying this, PYS. So many people just bash him for sideways.
Even with Higuain. You remember when Higuain joined? Higuain wasn't quick, but he had very, very good movement. And Jorginho, as soon as Higuain darted off the defender, bang, Jorginho was playing those balls straight through to him, over the top balls. Obviously, it's difficult because we're playing against low blocks, but if Jorginho spots a pass, spots a run, he's going to make it. He's going to pass. He's going to pass the pass, basically. So, he's not someone that just passes sideways. I don't get that sort of. How do you say it? It's kind of like a myth around him, I guess.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you, PYS. That whole sideways stuff for Jorginho is so. I feel like everyone sometimes says, "Oh, that's lazy analysis." That, you know what? That is so lazy about Jorginho to say that he's just side to side. There's a lot of other things that he does. You just need to focus. This is a really good comment that I want to read out from Declan Ireland. Once again, thank you, Declan, for joining, and thank you to everyone that's been joining so far. 39 people, almost 40 people that's on at the moment. Please smash that like button. Get it up to at least 40 likes, guys. But yeah, Declan Ireland, Jorginho slows the play down to a standstill and allows the opposition to get back into position. Billy, on the other hand, is progressive, fast, elusive, and his distribution is great. Billy, I just want to quickly talk about this before we move into the top half of the formation that we have. Billy Gilmour is someone, another player that Thomas Tuchel has been so highly praising this particular player, and he's saying that he's very close to making it into the first team. Do you feel like he would possibly be a bit of an upgrade in the sense that he probably has a similar sort of passing range as Jorginho, but at the same time, he's got a little bit more athleticism, like he can run, probably in the sense of physical abilities as well, probably, has that edge over Jorginho. Do you feel like this could be a player Thomas Tuchel looks to develop down the track?
I hope so. I love Billy Gilmour, honestly. I think he's although he's young, he's kind of like the complete package already. As you said, he can pass with pace. He's good off the ball. He's very aggressive in the tackle. He's, on paper, if you look at the attributes, you'd say that Billy Gilmour is an upgrade on Jorginho because he does the thing that Jorginho doesn't. But again, I will stress this: he's still inexperienced. He's still young. He can come in and play Premier League games, no doubt about it. But can he play, 4, 5, 6, 7 games on the run like Jorginho can? I don't know because we haven't seen it. I just think, obviously, he's going with experience at the moment with Jorginho. I always expected him to use Jorginho, but later down the line, I hope Billy sort of takes over from Jorginho because, no doubt about it, this guy is incredibly talented. He got back-to-back Premier League man of the matches at age of 18, 19. This kid's he's another superstar from our academy. He really is. He's another sort of Hudson-Odoi, Reece James, and Mason Mount sort of level player.
I feel like he's got the highest ceiling out of everyone. I feel like this kid. Probably between him and Hudson-Odoi for me. But Billy is an incredible talent. I think he will be used more in the future because, again, I think if he wasn't going to be used, I don't think we would have kept him. I think he would have. If Tuchel wasn't planning things for him, why wouldn't he just go out on loan and secure that Euro spot? 100%. I think the games that Jorginho doesn't play and maybe Kante's injured, then maybe he uses Gilmour. And this is another thing. He's got options. We've got depth. We've got really, really good depth in the side. So, and this is one of the reasons why I'm so excited because, look, if he can get the best out of players like Rudiger and Alonso and, what can he do with these actual good players, these talented players? I'm just thinking here, we're playing Rudiger and Alonso, and we're not I get he scored an own goal, but we're not bloody conceding, really, are we? We're actually looking decent with these kind of players that are known as dead wood, and I'm just sitting there if this isn't a purple patch, we're in for some really, really good things here. Because if he can get these players performing, what can he do with other actual talented, proper players,
molded proper players? That's what's getting me excited because I'm damn, this if this guy can fix some of these players that are just known as clowns, then I'm excited, man.
100% agree, bro. It's so true. All the players that we sort of, every time we saw them in the lineup, we'd be like, oh, no, not this player again. But all of these players have been stepping up. Alonso have stepped up. Rudiger has stepped up. Jorginho, Kovacic, all of these players that Bro,
Tuchel's got me posting Alonso fan cams and stuff. What has he done to me, man? I don't understand. This manager has got me moving mad lately.
Same. I'm doing Alonso propaganda and everyone's getting upset with me. And I'm like, dude, he's playing good. Tuchel's making me do this. Don't blame me. Blame Thomas Tuchel.
You just have to judge players based off form. And it's Alonso has to play over Chilwell right now. It is what it is. In the long term, I don't want Alonso at the club. I'd be happy to sell him tomorrow morning. But as it is right now, you have to sort of respect the hustle from Alonso, man. He's doing decent. Alonso Hive, it's gonna move him mad.
So true, bro. So true. Commentary from declared Billy will play the next FA Cup game for sure. I hope so, man. I think it's set up for Billy Gilmour for this. I think we may just see Billy Gilmour and Kante pivot. That would be very interesting because I think they do complement each other. Kante can just go box to box and just chase and whatever. And Billy can just pull the strings in the back in that back three. So I'm hoping that it is the double sixes that we see against Barnsley. Now, PYS, let's talk about the front half of the section. We sometimes play with 2 10s and a striker, sometimes 2 strikers and a 10. The 2 10s really become inside forwards. I want to now talk about some players that weren't fringe players, have become fringe players, and also talk about the players that are shining. Let's talk about the players that have been shining recently. Mason Mount, man. I'm going to be honest with you, PYS. I always knew he was a good player, and I always knew that he was going to reach, heights, big heights in this particular level. But what I'm seeing under Thomas Tuchel is a far more technical Mason Mount. He is looking for clever runs. He is looking for more clinical passes. He is it's not just like his press is also more structured as opposed to before it was just running everywhere. Do you feel like Mason is changing as a player as well under Thomas Tuchel?
I do. I obviously think, I've said before, Tuchel's like main thing for me obviously is his development of young players as well as other things. But one of the main things he does do is develop young players, and I think Mason Mount will just become a better all-rounded player under him. I really, really do. And I think one of the things I've said before, especially obviously, I mentioned it to Alex Goldberg as well. Obviously, he's a big fan of Mason Mount. I said to him, I think, Mason Mount can become more Mason Mount, like his own player under Tuchel, whereas he doesn't have that branding of Lampard's son behind him now. He's kind of got more freedom. He does. Obviously, I'm not saying that sort of affected him. Obviously not. He was playing really well under Lampard. I'm just saying that I think he can sort of become just more of his own player, sort of, and I think he'll get more praise from fans that didn't really like him under Lampard just because he had that, branding. But it's kind of like Jorginho and Sarri. Like, you remember, like, even though Jorginho would play well under Sarri, people were like, well, you know what, Jorginho is Sarri's son. Yeah, and he'd sort of get unnecessary hate. That's kind of what Mount was like under Lampard. Mount would play well at number 8, and people would say, well, they'd, dig into SofaScore stats or something like that and say, well, look, Lampard's son isn't so good after all, and things like that. So it's kind of like, now he doesn't have that branding behind him. I think he can sort of become his own player, and I think he will be a vital player on the Tuchel. I really do, because he's very, very high. He's got high intensity. He suits the system. As you said, he can become more technical. He got a really, really good goal against Sheffield United. I didn't expect him to score that.
That was brilliant goal.
Watching the replay as well, how quickly that ball came from him for Werner, and how well he hit it. The technique on that finish was brilliant.
With his weak foot. On
TV, it looked like a really easy sort of finish because he was in front of goal. But when you watch the replays, no, man, that was a hard goal to score. And I really have high hopes for Mason Mount under Tuchel. I really do. But again, I've said this to others, and Alex Goldberg especially. We have other attacking options, so I don't think it will be like under Lampard where he starts every single game. Like something crazy, like 13 matches in a row under Lampard.
And you know what? Maybe that's good for him. Maybe that's good for him not to play every game.
I agree, because it takes less pressure off him. The more games he starts, the more he has to perform. It's the same with other players, but I just think. I think he can do these like long run-ins, obviously playing every single game, but I don't necessarily think it's a good thing for him to play every single game, because, we have other attacking options that need to play as well. So it kind of like a lot of the thing on social media, especially if we're talking about social media, if Mount plays every single game, people are just going to get more annoyed with him, even though it's not his fault for playing, because they want to see other players as well. So I think that's where Tuchel strikes the right balance with the squad. Hopefully he sort of plays him. Sort of I don't know, maybe if we have 3 games in a week, for example, we don't, but say we do, maybe play him twice, or, don't play him 3 times, play him twice, or maybe start him once and then bring him on at 60 minutes both the other games. You know what I mean? It's up to the manager and at the end of the day, but I think Mason Mount, whatever happens, will be a very important player for Tuchel, no doubt about it, because he's a very good player. So yeah.
No, 100% agreed, man. Just a quick comment here from Maluk's. I think Mount's ceiling as an 8 is higher than a 10. I feel like under Thomas Tuchel, and correct me if I'm wrong, PYS, from what you see as well, I feel like it's a hybrid. It's not really an out-and-out 10, and it's not really an out-and-out 8. It's something in between. He's still box-to-box for Thomas Tuchel, because you have to still defensively fall back, and at the same time, whenever there's a transition in attack, you got to drive forward and be that creative outlet at times. And his late run that he made into the box for Werner's cross cutback, that just shows that I feel like he's somewhere in between. Is that sort of how you see it as well, PYS, in regards to a hybrid between 8 and a 10?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, he is very attacking, but obviously he does the dirty work as well. He'll sort of drop back and obviously do the dirty work and get in tackles, especially. But I just think in terms of that comment, I do agree he's better as an out-and-out 8, but I don't expect us to play 4-3-3 under Tuchel, because he doesn't like a lone DM. So for me, Mount will be Mount's role in this team will be sort of that, hybrid, as you said, or more of a 10, more of a forward. And again, I think he knows that because he said he's got to work on his finishing now. So I'm guessing he's sort of expecting to play more higher up. And obviously that's what he did against Sheffield United. Against Spurs, we was like, oh, Mount, come on, you can finish some of these chances. But he said after the game, you know what, I'll go back and train, go and work on my finishing. Comes back next game, scores a really important goal. So that's what I like about him. I like players that are active and want to develop and want to get better. And that's what I expect from these Cobham products, especially they're all like that. They're all very, very hungry and motivated. And I think that's why we have one of the best academies in the world, because not only are they talented, a lot of them are very, very hard working as well. So I think in this squad, we've got a very, very good balance of experience, of expensive signings, but they're also young as well. So it's not like, we're not gone and splashed, I don't know, a big fee on someone like Upamecano or something who's proven goal scorer, but he's not young. We've gone and, splashed like 50 million on Werner. We want Haaland. He's young as well. They're both proven goal scorers. Although Werner's not getting the goals at the moment, he's still proven goal scorer. So I like the way we're going about it. We're going young as well, but, at the back, names we've been linked to, like Sule, his experience. Obviously, we signed Thiago Silva. I get Upamecano's young, but other names we've been linked to. Alaba, I guess that's not happening now.
Varane.
Demands, but they're all kind of like. It seems like we're going for more experience at the back and sort of more attacking young flair going forward.
Yeah, it's a good balance.
I think in terms of like the squad building aspect, I hope that's something that Tuchel will sort of agree with the board on, especially. I'm hoping they sort of join together nicely. I'm not sure if it will happen, but yeah.
No, man, agreed. It's a good point that you made, that the kind of defenders that we are looking at predominantly, I know there's Upamecano in there as well, but predominantly looks like it's very experienced players. Like the one that's very, very linked with us is probably David Alaba, and David Alaba is, is very, very experienced at this level. So it's a good point that going more sort of younger up front, a little bit more experience at the back, which makes sense because you want experience in defense and you probably want a little bit more enterprising, a little bit more flair up front that you generally get with the youngsters. I want to talk about 3 players in this other sort of 10 role that you can say: Hakim Ziyech, Kai Havertz, and Pulisic. Now, Kai Havertz obviously recently injured. Hakim Ziyech seems like, I feel like there was a question here earlier on about Hakim Ziyech. I feel like Thomas Tuchel's taking his time with Hakim Ziyech because he has been injured as well. But at the same time, he's really tactically working on him, I suppose, probably figuring out how to deploy him and whatnot. And Hakim Ziyech came out with a quote today saying that the real Hakim Ziyech hasn't come out yet. You will see him very, very soon, which was I love the cockiness of this player, man. For me, PYS, Hakim Ziyech is my favorite player at the moment. Not that long ago, it was Ruben Loftus-Cheek, but obviously he's gone out on loan. But for me, Hakim Ziyech is someone I'm very, very biased towards. How do you feel about these? Because Pulisic obviously missed out on the last game due to personal reasons. Kai Havertz injured, but he's more or less just been in and out. These 3 players, they really need to step up their game under Thomas Tuchel, yeah?
Yeah. Who was the other 2 you mentioned? Because I've
Pulisic,
got an opinion on
Kai Havertz,
Ziyech,
and Ziyech.
Yeah, so for me, this is like the most... it's a hard topic to talk about, the front 3, because if I put out a front 3, I'm like, well, no, I don't want to leave him out. And if I put someone out front, I'm like, well, no, I don't want to leave that guy out. So it's like, I really struggle because for me, if you want creativity, Ziyech starts on the right wing spot. But then who are you putting left? You have Werner, you have Pulisic that can play there. You have Mount. Up front, if you want Werner, that means, maybe you have Mount and Pulisic, but then Ziyech has to sit. Or, we're not even mentioning Havertz. If Havertz starts, in any of those 4 positions, you may not see a Mount, a Pulisic. So, I don't know. I'm kind of happy with whatever rolls out, to be honest, because I think all 3, it's hard because I think any front 3 will work under Tuchel. I think some better than others, but I think I don't know. I'm not leaning towards a particular front three that I really, really like and I'm settled on, because I think each player offers different things. You know, I've seen some people say like Havertz can play sort of that centre forward role, and I think he can. I think he needs to get more in the box. But then again, you know, what happens to Werner then? Does he replace Pulisic on the left, like last game? He played sort of the left side. But then again, if you've got a fully fit Pulisic who's firing, he starts. So I know we haven't got that at the moment. He needs to up his game, but again, for this to happen, they need to play. You know, Pulisic needs to play, Ziyech needs to play, and I'm hoping that's what this FA Cup game's going to bring a little bit. I'm hoping Ziyech, Pulisic, and Havertz is the front three for me. But I do think it will be Tammy Abraham. In the cup game, I've just got a weird feeling he's going to start Tammy. But for me, my front three would be Pulisic, Havertz, and Ziyech. In that FA Cup game, because I think that's a lot of goals, especially against the Barnsley. It's a lot of chances created. That's a lot of, you know, attacking impetus in the box. I think we can create a lot of chances, get the job done. But I also think they're, as you mentioned, the three players that probably need the most confidence right now. I think Werner's got his confidence back a little bit based on the last two games. But for me, now,
and he had a little bit of an injury as well, just off the back of that match. So
especially it's difficult for Ziyech in the moment, as you've said, especially him, because he's had injuries and he's come out and said you've not seen the best Ziyech yet. But yeah, I'm excited about him, but I'm also excited about other players. So for me, it's not like a cut and dry, you know, this guy has to start. I'm sort of open and flexible to things. So yeah.
No, 100% agreed, man. Here's someone, Unfaced CC, has agreed with you, PYS. How about Kai as a striker? That's exactly what PYS said. I've always entertained this, that Kai Havertz could play as a striker. He's not like a false nine who can drop deep. He can definitely do that. And you can have a Timo Werner just behind him as well. But as you said, PYS, if you have Timo Werner, then either Pulisic or, you know, someone else is missing now. But for the cup game, I wouldn't be at all unhappy if I see Kai Havertz, Pulisic, and Ziyech. Although, as you said, it may be Tammy Abraham up front. I'm not going to be unhappy at all if I see Kai Havertz, Pulisic, and Hakim Ziyech, because Mason Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Timo Werner, they all probably need a bit of rest. And Barnsley is a team, we've taken care of them, earlier on in the League Cup, so we should have enough, attacking impetus. But yeah, it's a good headache, and it's so well said by you, PYS, once again, that it all depends on the opposition and how, you know, the characteristics of their style will dictate who starts for, Thomas Tuchel. Now, quickly, let's talk about the strikers options that we have. I don't know, man. I haven't been totally impressed by Giroud since Tuchel has taken over. And not really entirely impressed with Tammy either. When Werner's played up front, and whether it be, you know, Kai Havertz or Mason Mount or Callum Hudson-Odoi just behind him, we've looked much better. Or whenever it's Timo Werner with another striker, that worked out somewhat, but the striker in itself probably didn't work out. It's interesting that we're linked with Haaland, because I feel like right now with Werner, Tammy Abraham, and Giroud, not one of them can we really say out and out that, they deserve to start every single game because they're that good. I mean, Timo Werner probably pips it in front of everyone because of his goal contribution and the pace and you know, the way he wins penalties and all of that. His movement is great. But PYS, your thoughts about our striking option? Have you been impressed? Because obviously we haven't been clinical at all up front. We've created chances here and there. We haven't been clinical. What's your thoughts about our striking options under Thomas Tuchel?
Again, another difficult one for me to answer, because in the past we've seen Giroud be pretty reliable, but at the moment he's not playing very well. I don't know about Giroud. I think the problem with Giroud is he's now really old and he's not really got the intensity that Tuchel wants. I feel for striker, and again, Giroud is a player that even under Lampard and under, you know, the managers at Arsenal, he relied a lot on crosses in the box and sort of feeding on things in the box. And unless it's a Hakim Ziyech and a Reece James, you know, right side, I don't see a high volume of crosses coming in the box. And another thing that I've noticed with Giroud as well, I don't know about you, but last game and a few of the other games, man, his hold-up play has actually been dodgy. And
Yeah.
I never ever thought I would say that about Olivier Giroud.
Heavy
I mean,
touches as well. Like his
yeah,
touches are not
just
that
the
great.
touches. Like when you play the ball into him, usually he'd just knock it off straight away, or he'd hold a player off. I don't know. There's something about him lately. He's just not holding it up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what's going on with this guy? This is Olivier Giroud, man. Like this is what he like. Remember, like under Lampard and other managers, obviously that we had, like he'd play because he'd be able to hold the ball up. If anything,
Yeah.
under Sarri, he wasn't the pressing striker, but if you brought Giroud into the team, you're going to get amazing hold up play. That's what
Yeah.
we sort of, if Giroud was on the
Like
lineup,
he brings others in. He brings other players in, but he hasn't been able to do
that's
that.
what we accepted Giroud up front for, was because the main reason was because he was a hold up play striker. Yes, he'd get the old, not the old, but the odd sort of goal and stuff. But the main reason was his hold up play, and he's not doing that. So for me, Giroud doesn't get anywhere near the starting 11 at the moment. Tammy Abraham is again an interesting one because he's kind of like Werner in the way that he's got good movement and he will stretch the play. He will sort of try and stretch the defence with runs in behind. But again, for me with Tammy, not good hold-up play. Touches are usually all over the place. A good goal scorer does usually get sort of a certain amount of goals a season, but all-round game, a lot to work on with Tammy Abraham. Werner, again, if he's starting up front, again, it's a difficult one because he's not getting loads of goals. His movement's good, like Tammy, but again, Werner's passing is dodgy as well. That's another thing I don't really particularly like about Werner. His passing is dodgy. He's sort of just...
First touch is dodgy, bro. First touch is dodgy.
So I think all of our strikers have limitations. But I think if I'm going with a ranking, I'd probably go with Werner, Tammy, Giroud, just based on purely what I think Werner can deliver. And obviously he's the £50 million striker. He's got the proven track record of scoring, an abundance of goals. So I don't think we should give up on Werner just yet. I think, give him sort of, rest this season, next season, and then see where we go from there. But again, from the things I'm hearing and stuff that I've been told in the past is that, we will sign a striker next summer. We will try and go for someone. If it's not Haaland, then, I don't know who it could be in all reality, really. But that's why I think we'll go all out for Haaland if we've got the money. And I think this is another reason why I think we might go for Upamecano at centre-back, because he's a cheap option and he's young. Whereas, if we was to sign like a Jimenez, we're not getting a Haaland. And I think the club really wants an actual clinical finisher to take us to this next level. And you know what? We can create as many chances as we want, and we can love Mason Mount, and we can love Pulisic, we can love Ziyech, but if we've not got that one big figurehead up front, that delivers us 20 goals, 25 goals a season, like Diego
we ain't
Costa
winning
did,
nothing. We ain't winning nothing.
We might scrape an FA Cup or something based on a Mason Mount or something, producing a bit of individual brilliance, or a Ziyech, winning us a game, but we're not winning a league. We're not winning a Premier League without a consistent striker up front. Diego Costa, 2 20-goal seasons, actually bang on 20 goals. Those 2 20-goal seasons, we won the league. It makes all the difference. And Chelsea is a club where we need that sort of big striker, that sort of... Haaland's, 100%. He's tall, but he's not like the most physical, but he's got a bit about him, I don't think...
Bit of a freak. He's just got this freak nature.
He just feels like a Chelsea striker to me, man. He feels like that one that I want to bang in the goals. I'd do anything for Haaland, man. He's a generational talent. Like, I know that word goes about a lot, and it's like, generational. No, Mbappe, Haaland for me are the 2 generational talents. I think this guy's an absolute freak of nature up front. His conversion rate for his age is absolutely disgusting. Like, his finishing is an absolute joke, man. This guy is... If we landed Haaland, man, I guarantee you we're fighting for the league next season, as long as we get our other signings right. I guarantee it, because the striker makes that much of a difference. They win you the games. So for me, if we can get Haaland next summer, that's like, oh my God, man, I'm gassed for next season if we can get him. But if we don't, I'm not sure who else we could get, realistically.
Here's a thought for you. I know everyone wants Haaland. I want Haaland as well, but here's a thought. I tweeted out something yesterday. I'm not sure if you saw this. I said a Werner and a Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Here's a comment from Declared. He said Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm very impressed with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, man. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, what's the difference between Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Tammy Abraham?" There's a lot of difference. Believe me, have a look at the matches. Aerially, there's difference. I think hold up is a lot better. He's just got that a little bit more of an X factor than Tammy does. What's your thoughts on Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Just in case we don't get someone like Haaland, I feel like Dominic Calvert-Lewin could be the next big English striker, man. I'm pretty sure he won't be at Everton very soon. He will go to a bigger club in the Premier League, I reckon.
I think the thing with Calvert-Lewin is mainly Everton. I think they are notoriously quite a hard club to deal with. If you want to take one of their star players, they're gonna charge you a very, very high amount. I think we saw that with other players in the past. So yeah, I don't know. He's a good player, definitely a good goal scorer, but I think he just costs like too much. I like, for me, if you're signing Calvert-Lewin for like 80 odd million or something, because that's what I think it would take, like realistically.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather probably stick with Werner up top and then probably sign like a Grealish for 80 million or something like that. For me personally, like if we're signing someone like from sort of a not necessarily lower club, but like lower than Chelsea, you know what I mean? I just don't know if it's worth that much of if it's worth the risk, sort of thing. I'm not sure, but again, he's a decent player, and I struggle to sort of give you an opinion on many other strikers because we've not really been linked with anyone apart from Haaland. So until we get concrete links, and then I can go into detail on players. But for now, it's kind of all hypothetical, and I just have to give my opinion on Haaland because I feel like he's the one that we will go for the most. And again, we're competing with City and Real Madrid for this player, so it's not going to be easy. But I tell you what, man, if Roman can pull this off, wow, like just imagine that guy in the next 5-10 years. Like,
just imagine Rory. Just imagine Rory. He wanted this man out.
That guy, no, don't get me started on that guy. Let's stick to strikers.
No, absolutely, man. I truly hope that we do get Haaland. I'm just thinking that, as you said, there's going to be some top clubs like Manchester City will be looking for a striker. Real Madrid will be looking for a striker. So there's going to be a lot of challenge here to get someone like Haaland. I don't even think Haaland's going to go in this particular summer. He may well, but I think he may stick around for one more season and then it'll be an all-out battle to get him. Bro, that's all about the players. The last thing that I really want to just talk to you about is to wrap things up here. First of all, guys, 44 people. There was about 50 at one stage. Please smash that like button. Take this opportunity right now. Hit that like button. Helps the channel out a lot as well. And if you've been enjoying this show with PYS, please smash that like button to show the appreciation. PYS, last question before we wrap things up. Obviously, we talked a lot about Thomas Tuchel, you know, his style, formations, the players' comments, their performances lately, some players that are not doing well, some players that are doing well, fringe players, whole heap of stuff. The last thing that I want to talk to you about is his in-game management. I've been so impressed, PYS, about his in-game management. You know, the way he doesn't wait around for the substitutions. He's hooked off Tammy Abraham against Burnley halfway through, whether it be a tactical decision. I'm pretty sure it was a tactical. I don't think it was an injury. You know, even just normal substitutions. He doesn't wait around for the 75th minute or the 80th minute to make changes. He starts making changes, 55th, 60th minute, and he's constantly, as you said, he's barking orders from the sidelines, and he's talking to the players all the time, passing information through, and even how he's celebrating every little detail in the game. He's either jumping up and down. How much of that is a massive factor as well? Because previously, let's be honest, predominantly we saw Frank Lampard just like that on the sideline. And I don't know what sort of vibe that gives out to the players when they're in the field. And I know every manager is different, but having someone like Tuchel on the sideline and doing all of that, what he's doing, and plus the in-game management that I've been talking about, that must be a massive factor as well, yeah?
100% agree. Like, it's it's so important to have a proactive manager as well, and that is exactly what Tuchel looks like he's doing at the moment. Like, honestly, I'm in love in the early subs. Like, if something's not going well, I want subs at half time for 60 minutes. If something's not going well and we're not playing to the best of our abilities, and that's a lot. That's another thing I said under Lampard is that we've got like a lot of options as well. Like, we don't need to just stick with the same team. We don't need to wait until we concede until we try and sort things out. Tuchel seems like a person that wants to sort things out before things get worse, and that seems, that's really obvious, PYS. He's trying to get the team to win, but that's his job. But, you'd be surprised. A lot of managers are not proactive. They're very stubborn. So we've been, we know that with Sarri. We know that with Lampard as well. They were very stubborn. They sort of waited late on to make changes. Sarri less so. He sort of had that sort of traditional substitution with Kovacic and Barkley. But I think...
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, I think obviously... Tuchel is a sort of man that's trying to lay down his mark. He's trying to make everyone realise, I'm going to give you an opportunity, guys, but if you don't play well, you're off. I ain't taking any rubbish here. You know what I mean? So I'm really enjoying that, and I think it can help with personal relationships as well, because there's no doubt behind the scenes. Like, for me, he seems like a guy, like, although he took Tammy off, there's no doubt for me behind the scenes he's talking to Tammy and saying, look, it's nothing personal, but you didn't play very well today. I just, I needed to change stuff. I feel like he's the sort of man just to do that based on what we see on match day. He pulls people to the side. So I can imagine he sort of does that in training as well. I saw him talk to Tino Andrew. Obviously, that's nothing to do with a substitution in game, but he seems like a manager that's very hands-on and wants to build relationships and try and keep the squad happy, even if it does result in them playing less time and being subbed off. But it's good because it means that no one gets a free pass. Basically, Chilwell is not getting a free pass at left back. Alonso's been out the squad, and he's brought him back in. Look, Chilwell, you're not playing well. Look, what am I going to do? I'm going to take you out. Unlike Lampard, who would never ever play Alonso. He would keep, as you said before, quite a while ago. Lampard kept the fringe players as fringe players, whereas Tuchel's not doing that. Maybe it will change in the future as he sort of finds his, main squad, main sort of group of players. Obviously, not everyone's going to start. There is going to be players, guys, that will leave and will sort of be not frozen out, but they won't play a lot of games. I think we're maybe seeing that with Emerson at the moment. He's kind of been a victim. We have 3 sort of left backs left, then left wing backs, but we haven't seen Emerson yet. So I don't know. There will be players that leave, but for now, he's doing a very, very good job of keeping the squad balanced, keeping them happy and healthy. And 100%. I'm loving the proactiveness on the touchline. It's very, very. It's engaging as well to see as a Chelsea fan. You're like, yes, like, it's something you can get behind, because you mentioned Lampard like crossing his arms and things like that, and I hate to say it, but I sort of got the vibe that just Lampard sort of gave up. Towards the end, he was just he looked so angry. Like, every time the cameras would focus on him, he looked really angry, really upset. Like, it looked like he really held some personal grudges. Like, he got to that stage where he was just like, like, screw this. You know what I mean? He got really
just not enjoying it anymore.
Yeah, I just feel like he lost himself. He lost what he built last season. I just feel like he got so stuck in the mud that he was too sort of angry to sort of change things, because I don't know. I don't know him personally, but from what I was seeing is that I just felt like he gave up and thought that things couldn't be changed around, and that's what the vibe I got from the interviews as well. He was sort of, throwing players under the bus. He wasn't giving solutions to how we could make things better. He was just holding on to the hope that, oh, look, Liverpool gave Klopp time, you should give me time, without any substance or proof of work. Obviously, he was a rookie. So, with Tuchel, I think, to finish my point off, I think he will stay proactive, and he will hopefully keep the squad happy and healthy, and we can move forward and do good things. Obviously, as the comments are saying, in the past, we need to calm down. That's true.
Yeah.
Only a few months ago, I was saying Lampard could win the league with how we started, and look how that turned out. I'm not saying we're going to storm the league next season, but my point is true. Tuchel is a far better manager than Frank Lampard. So there is a much higher possibility that we could win or / challenge at least for the league next season. But let's see how this season ends. If we don't finish
100%.
top 4, there's a big problem, especially. It's not Tuchel's fault, but there's a big problem financially, in my opinion, because we may sign a couple of decent players, but top 4 is what attracts, what attracts the big players. And obviously we need that £50 million in the bank, especially during the pandemic to sort of spend on players, which is what I expect us to do. So for me, guys, praying for top 4, and I guess that wraps things up.
No, 100% agree, man. PYS, honestly, what a discussion. Got so much out of here as well. Hopefully all the viewers that have joined in throughout the whole stream got a lot out of this too. That pretty much wraps us up. Hopefully you guys got a bit more understanding as to how we sort of, turned our form around. And I know a lot of comments here. I think there's a comment here from Tyrone as well saying sort of, don't get gassed yet. We're not getting overly gassed. We know how things quickly can change around. But I think what PYS has said, which sums it up very well, is at least with Thomas Tuchel, he's a far better experienced manager. And there is that greater possibility that things could be much, much better for a consistent amount of time under his regime. It could well turn around, but let's just hope that it doesn't.
We're just excited, man. We're just excited.
Yeah, we're just excited.
I think one of the things that I guess I can address that point and put it this way is that there's a difference between getting gassed and getting excited. Like, I'm seeing some things lately on the timeline saying if we beat Atletico Madrid, we're winning the Champions League. That's getting gassed. That's getting gassed. I'm not gassed about. I'm gassed about Tuchel as a manager, but I'm not, gassed about the situation. Like, I'm not getting ahead of myself. I'm not saying we're going to win the Champions League and we're going to storm the Premier League and based off these games. No, I'm just happy. I'm just excited. How can you not be watching this team and watching what he's doing at the moment? It's not. There's a difference between being happy and being, content with where we're at and being over the top and gassed, in my opinion, anyway.
Nah, agreed. Well said. Great comment here from Declan. Great guest again, Miz. Thanks both. Honestly, PYS is full of knowledge, and I love having a discussion with him all the time. Guys, thank you so much. That wraps it all up. Everyone that will watch it down the track, just check out the whole stream. Whole heap of knowledge that's been dropped here. And each and every one of you guys, hope you've enjoyed it. If you're here for the first time, subscribe, smash that like button, and hit that bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. All of PYS's social information's in the description right now. They've got the YouTube channel as well. That's in the description. Please subscribe to their channel and please follow PYS as well in football Twitter. I think he's very close to 50,000 followers, so get him to that level. So yeah, guys, until next time, see ya.